everyone, it's Mari here for Honeybee Stamps. Today I'm participating in an Instagram hop over on Instagram called Stenciling Fun. This is a collaboration between Honeybee and Waffle Flower Crafts. And this is the A2 size card that I'm going to be making for you today. I'm going to be featuring some of the stencils from Waffle Flower and also from Honeybee Stamps. And I'm going to be using this gorgeous 9x12 mat that has just been released from Waffle Flower Crafts. This is a beautiful stencil mat. You can see that it just sticks so nicely to my craft mat. It doesn't move. I'm going to talk about some of the different elements of that mat. I'm going to also be using this really awesome holiday stripe stencil from Waffle Flower Crafts, which is a really fun stencil. I'm going to show you some of the other Waffle Flower Crafts stencils as well that they have in their shop, like this big dots, the duotone squares stencil. This is a stencil that you can use to layer, and you can just see the pattern that you can achieve with those stencils. This one is the pine tree stencil, super, super fun. You can see you have a mask and a stencil there with that one, so cool. This is the spread your wings stencil, which also coordinates nicely with the spread your wings stamp set. Really, really fun. I do not have that stamp set, but this stencil definitely coordinates with that. This is the sunburst stencil. Also really cool. You can see the different things that you could achieve with that stencil. This is the snowfall background stencil. Really love that. That's a single stencil where you can create that snowfall background. This is the duotone Christmas tree set that has, again, the two stencils in the pack where you can do the layering. So really, really fun. So many different really cool stencils from Waffle Flower Crafts. This is the Honeybee Stamps coffee bean background stencil. With every release, Honeybee does come out with really awesome stencils. And this is the really cool new die set called the Stacking Art Deco Labels dies from Honeybee. I'm also going to be using the Treat Yourself stamp set from Honeybee and the coordinating die set as well. And this is just a really fun coffee themed and treat themed stamp set. I'm going to also use the Bitty Buzzwords Fall Sentiment set. This also has a coordinating die set as well, where you can cut out the individual word and the background for those different sentiments. Love that set so much. So I'm going to start off here with my Waffle Flower 9x12 stencil mat here. I'm going to use the open edge, and this is one of the really cool features of this mat is you can work off the edge because the little shelf is only on two of the edges. So that shelf is perfect for securing your stencil in that little niche corner if you want, or it also allows you to work off the edge so that in this case, I didn't want the sort of like the little border showing on the one edge. So I just slid the stencil over so that I could achieve that borderless kind of effect here. Now I'm using a Cosmic Shimmer product here. This is some Cosmic Shimmer Copper Shine Gilding Polish. And also another really great thing about this mat is it's silicone. So the cleanup is super easy. So what I can do is take the little applicator with that gilding polish and I can put the product over on my mat and just smoosh into that mat with that sponge and pick up the product, kind of just smoosh it around so that I only have a thin layer of it on my applicator because I don't want it to ooze under the edges of this gorgeous holiday striped stencil. And I do actually also have a little bit of pixie spray on the back of my stencil so that it will stick to my cardstock. But the really great thing about this silicone mat is that the stencil will actually stick to the mat over on the edges. So I didn't have to tape it down or anything like that. It just adheres nicely to the mat, and it's just a really nice feature. And the really great thing about this large mat is that it allows you to use those full-size stencils that you might have in your stash as well. So really, really versatile. The new mats that are just being released by Waffle Flower also come in another size. So there's also a smaller size stencil mat. So make sure that you check that out in the Instagram hop today. And I will make sure that I link up to that hop in the description box below. So here you can just see I've finished up with that Cosmic Shimmer paste. And now I've turned my mat because I want to put my my craft cardstock into the corner. So I've placed my A2 size cardstock into the corner, and I've placed my stencil over top of that into that nice little shelf area. And that's going to hold my stencil and my cardstock in place while I go ahead and apply my ink. So I'm using my Honey Bee Stamps blending brush, and I've picked up some Gathered Twigs Distress ink, and I'm going to blend over top of my coffee bean background stencil here with that ink just to create this coffee bean background on the craft cardstock. And here you can just see how easy it is. I am holding the stencil in place with my left hand, and it's super easy because that mat is just so grippy, and I love that. Now I'm going to take one of the Stacking Art Deco labels dies, and I'm going to tape that to this stenciled cardstock. And I'm going to tape that down, run that through my die cutting machine. And I'm also going to now take my A2 double stitched frames from Honey Bee. I'm going to take the largest die from that set, and I'm going to use that on that stenciled paper there with the stripes to create a stitched background for my card. Now I've also used the Honey Bee rectangle Sweet Stacks dies, or the Sweet Stacks rectangles I should say, to cut out that brown cardstock. And you can just see that I'm using a copper colored card base, and then that brown cardstock, and then my stenciled stripe paper. And then I'm going to use 2 sizes of my Art Deco labels there. I cut one from the brown cardstock, and then of course from the coffee bean background paper there. And these are all going to layer up to create the layers for my card today. So just really super fun. Now this is the Honey Bee Stamps Intense Black ink. I love this ink so much. It is a ink that's great for alcohol coloring, alcohol ink coloring, or whatever it is that you want to do. It has also just a really, really nice crisp ink. I love it. And so I'm going to stamp out my latte. I'm going to stamp out that little pumpkin, and those are going to be great for the images for my card front here. I'm also going to stamp out this little circle, and I'm going to die cut all of those different pieces. So those are all from the Treat Yourself stamp set and coordinating dies. Here you can see I am die cutting those all out as little embellishments for my card. Now you can see I've colored those up, and they are all ready to go for embellishing my card. And you can just see how I have those layered up. I am going to use this Bitty Buzzwords sentiment set here, Bitty Buzzwords Fall, to stamp out my sentiments. And I'm going to use a little bit of Pinecone VersaFine Clair ink here to stamp those out. The really nice thing about this ink is it stays wet for quite a while, so I can definitely add some embossing powder to that. So I added some clear embossing powder to that stamped sentiment, or those stamped sentiments. I'm going to just heat up and melt that embossing powder now and die cut those out, and those will be ready to add to my card. I'm using my Honey Bee Stamps glue tube here to adhere some of my pieces together. I'm going to add that dark brown cardstock to the copper A2 size card base here. And now I'm going to add some foam adhesive to the back of my stenciled cardstock and give my that piece a little bit of dimension in that way. So I'll just go ahead and add that foam adhesive to the whole back of that piece of cardstock. I'll take the backer off of that and add that to that brown cardstock on my card. I'm just going to keep trimming that up and adding more layers of that on there. And then now you can see I've added it to that dark brown cardstock here. So love that stenciling with that holiday stripe stencil. It is so fun. And now you can just see here, I'm going to add this coffee bean piece onto the dark chocolate colored label dyed piece, or die cut piece. And this die cut's just going to have a little bit of dimension as well with a little bit of foam adhesive. So there's quite a bit of dimension to the front of this card. You could totally add these different pieces to the card without dimension. It's kind of just whatever look you like. And I'm going to add a little bit of clear Wink of Stella to some of the different areas of my colored and die cut pieces here. So to the blue area of the cup, and some of the other little areas here just to add a little bit of sparkle and shine to that embellishment for my card. I'm just going to add this with a little bit of foam adhesive as well. Now I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that you can add these onto the card if you decide to do this design yourself. You could put the cup up a little bit higher, or you could center it. I'm going to show you both ways. And if you decide to try this design, you could decide whichever one you like best. So here you can just see I'm going to put the card up a little bit higher here, or the cup a little bit higher. I'm going to add that little circular label and then the little pumpkin over top. I thought that just looked really sweet. And then I'm going to also add the different sentiments here, the two different little sentiments that I have die cut out as well. Just wanted to add a little bit more sparkle and shine here with my Wink of Stella. Now I have added some foam strips to the word latte, and I'm going to just take my tweezers and position that onto my card once I get the backer off of those foam strips. And then I'm just going to add the love you above the word latte. So the sentiment is love you a latte. And there you can see what it looks like when it's up a little bit higher where the cup is not centered. I'm also going to add some little stickles, a little bit of stickles here and there on my card as well, just to add a little bit more sparkle and shine and detail to the card. So I'm just going to put a little bit on the whipped topping on the latte, add a little bit to the little flower, a little bit to the area where the chocolate sprinkles are, and so on. I'm also going to add a little bit of white gel pen detail here and there, just some little dots and lines, just to add a little hint of highlight. And that's basically going to be my card today. Make sure you check out the links in the description box below to the Instagram hop and to all of the products that I've used today. I absolutely love this waffle flower mat and all of the stencils from Honeybee Stamps, the stencil brushes, the blending brushes, and so on. So fun. Here you can see how I've moved everything down as well. So you decide which design you like. You could definitely add those bits in the position that you think looks best to your eye. Thank you so much for joining me today. I had so much fun. I hope you did too. I hope you enjoyed this process, and I will see you soon. Have an amazing day, friends. Bye-bye.